Okay, in the tutorial for today, we're going to take a look at another student essay. In this case, another to what extent opinion essay. Now, I've done a couple of these videos, but this is a new one with the kind agreement of the student. We're going to take a look at their essay and we'll see what it needs, and we'll look at the structure, the organisation, grammar, vocab, etc. I've written a model example which I will use, and we've got the structure files which you've probably seen on previous videos. So, to what extent? So, what can I say? As we know, for a to what extent essay, it's asking you, how far do you agree with a particular statement or not, and you have to give 2 reasons why you agree or not, and that's basically it. If we look at the question, the position of women in society has changed markedly in the last 20 years. Many of the problems young people now experience, such as juvenile delinquency, arise from the fact that many married women now work and are not at home to care for their children. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this opinion? Now, I'm not quite sure if this is a real IELTS question or where this came from. It seems a little bit wordy to be a proper IELTS question. It could be. It seems that's a little bit long, but though it's still a to what extent do you agree or not. So, what we need then, first of all, analyze the question. So, as always, the first sentence in the essay sets the scene. It's the general topic or theme. You're not supposed to write about that. The actual question comes afterwards. So, the position of women in society has changed markedly in the last 20 years. Well, okay, maybe that's true, maybe not. So, many of the problems young people now experience, so we're talking about young people now experience, arise from the fact that many married women now work and are not at home to care for your children. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this opinion? So, it's asking us, do we agree or not that many of the problems young people experience arise from the fact that many married women now work and are not at home to care for their children? So that's what it's asking. Now, structure. Yeah. So typical for paragraphs, as you've seen in other essays. So, paragraph 1. As I keep saying, and I no doubt will keep saying again and again, first impressions count. We need a clear, strong introduction. What does it mean exactly? So, every question, sentence 1, you paraphrase the topic. Sentence 2, because it's asking you to what extent do you agree or not, you have to give an opinion. Sentence 3, this is where lots of people tend to lose marks. They don't put an outline. They don't tell us what the essay is about. They say, so in this essay I will look at some reasons, or this essay will discuss various reasons. Well, yeah, but what are they? We want an outline sentence. All the top scoring essays all have an outline sentence. So let's have a look. Here we go. So, to what extent do we agree, blah, blah, blah. So let's have a look at the introduction of the student essay. The traditional family notion has been, well, hang on, first, let me just, seems a little bit long. 460 words, that's too long. That's too long. It looked a little wordy. You only need about, most essays come in at about 300 words or just under. 460, that's a little bit long. And this introduction is far too long. If you take a look at any of the sample essays on IELTS Advantage, or if you look at Ryan Higgins' channel on YouTube, or look at mine, we all say the same. A nice, short, clear, sentence 1, 2, 3. That's all that you basically need for an introduction. So, traditional family notion has been changing in the world generally on these days, or it should be in. So the traditional family notion or traditional family notions, so either that should be plural or it should have an article. In the world generally in these days. Yeah, but what's that got to do with the question? Women are more visible in last decades of a business life, not to assure their financial background, are more visible in last decades than previous decades in business. Moreover, investing in their future welfare. Oh, why is a caps lock on? Hang on. Sorry. Oh, yes. Okay. Marriage or pregnancy status is not a significant issue. So the main point of grammar here that I can see is articles. Now, I won't give too much away when I say in the language, the native language of the author of this article, of this essay, they don't have articles. So we've got some missing articles here. Marriage or pregnancy status, business, yeah, blah, 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 both gender being equal. What's that got to do with anything? Therefore, children's problems subsequently increase. Well, right. In terms of the introduction, apart from some grammar and vocab, it's giving examples and reasons, and it's talking very, very generally about the topic. You're not supposed to do that, except for paragraph 2 and 3. So the introductions are not very good. It's very general. It's giving details, introductions. You know, so the actual question is, right, again, this is for the task achievement part. I'll show you this. I keep having to explain this every week. Writing band descriptions. Okay. So grammar, lexis, yes, we know. So where's my pen? If we're looking for 7, which most of you are, and above, clear central topic, every paragraph, okay. Logical organization of information, a progression, clear position, presents, extends, and supports your main ideas. So if you've got a very general introduction, you know, presents information and ideas, but there's no clear progression in the response. The format may be inappropriate. Well, isn't bad. The answer is tangential. In other words, it goes off at a tangent. So it's not directly addressing the question. So you need to be pretty careful there. Expresses a position, but the development is not always as clear as it could be. So addresses the task only partially. Well, we'll see if it does, but so far the introduction, it's looking a little bit general. It doesn't really say what the essay is about or where it's going. Now, here's an example. Okay, this is something that I wrote just for this question. Now, it's not a very good example, mainly because I've got no ideas about this issue or topic. I imagine that's a problem that lots of people have. I tried to write it as quickly as possible to, you know, replicate the conditions of the exam as much as possible, but still. If we look at the structure, so sentence 1, you paraphrase the question, okay? It is argued that as many married women are in employment and are unable to be at home with their children, this causes problems such as juvenile delinquency for some young people. So I've paraphrased. So that's what you basically need, right? Sentence 1, paraphrase, restate the question. Then we need a clear position. What, you know, do you agree or not? So I disagree with this view. I don't think that married women working, that's the issue. I don't think that's causing it. So my 2 main ideas. Now, you only need 2, right? One main idea, which you develop in paragraph 2. Children should be at school during the day and therefore subject to discipline at school. And you don't have to give any examples or reasons there, because you're going to be doing that in paragraph 2. Right? So the second main idea, even if a mother's not available, it's usually grandparents look after the kids, so there's some adult supervision. So even if a mother is at work, there's someone there, you know. So we will see. So that's the main idea for paragraph number 3. Okay, so it's argued that as many married women are in employment and are unable to be at home with their children, this causes problems such as juvenile delinquency for some young people. Restate the question. I disagree and will argue that children should be at school during most of the day and therefore subject to discipline. And secondly, even if a mother's not available, many families have grandparents to look after their offspring, kids, so some adult supervision is present. So you can see this introduction, we've got a paraphrase of a question, a clearly expressed view, and an outline. Okay, so if we take a look at the other one. So both genders, therefore the children. So now, I agree with the topic of the question. Yeah, but what does that mean? With I am agree or I do agree. I mean, you know, I am. You would only use that if it was I am in agreement or I am agreeing with, which, you know, so anyway, I agree with the topic of the question. Well, do you agree with, it's not a topic, is it? It's a actual question is, do you agree or not that many problems young people face is caused by married women working? That's, you know, do you agree with that or not? So, so we're not very clear as to what the essay is about. I mean, as to what the opinion is. Several reasons will be given in the rest of the essay. Well, again, you know, having an outline is very important. You know, if you don't have an outline, the reader, examiner, or me, I've got no idea where it's going. So we've got, we've got 1 sentence, 2 sentences, 3 sentences, 4 sentences, 5 sentences, very generally writing about the topic, but not specifically addressing the particular question. Do you agree that many problems such as juvenile delinquency are caused by married women being at work? Do you agree that that's the problem, or that's what causes it, or not? So we're not really sure what this essay is about now. So it's very general. So back to the structure. So what do you do for paragraph 2 and 3? Well, your topic sentence, your main idea, explain it, an example, a specific one, if possible. Now, you can put a 4th sentence, you could either put a concession, even though despite the fact that this is this and that, to make it a more slightly balanced view, you don't have to. Or you can reinforce your example. Thus, as we can see, the consequences, but you don't actually have to. It's just if you've got time, you know. So let's have a look. Because the reason why, it's basically this: a logical organization of information, sequence, logic. We want a progression. This leads to this, leads to this, leads to that. That's what we basically need. Okay, so if we go back, where are we? Okay, at the beginning, I would like to mention about the necessity of seeing a mother for the child at home, at the past. In the past, mothers are most able to look after their children, while the father of home or of the home or the household was working all day. Okay, enough care was given children they grew up about with control of the mother, well, with or under the control, say, of the mother, and family construction, well, life insurance, that care. Well, right, so you're basically saying what the question, what the topic is. You know, it's asking you, do you agree with the question or not? So you say you agree with the topic of the question. That, I suppose you might mean that you agree that women working, that's the problem. So we need a reason why. Why do you agree? So mothers mostly they'll look after children, the family construction. Although families are hiring the babysitter, well, they're hiring a babysitter or sending to the best kindergarten for the security and care, getting more alone at home, if we don't have much connection by the parents, it leads to some problems. So you're writing about the topic, but you're not. It's not very structured. All right, having a babysitter, children are getting more alone at home. They were forgotten to have emotional connection by the parents. So, what we could do, right? Let's have a look at this once. This is a paragraph which I wrote. So, even if the mother of a household has to work during the daytime, her children should be at school most of the working day. So, the structure again, your topic sentence, explain an example, yeah? So, even if a mother's working, her children should be at school. So, a progression, it's got to carry on, right? This means that the children would only be unsupervised for a few hours until she returns home. So, for example, if delinquency is caused by inadequate supervision, in other words, that's the reason because there's nobody there, then surely the discipline of school life, where the child would like be, should stop any youngster from adopting bad behaviour. Now, as I said, this is not my best essay, but it's just to give you an example of that logical progression and structure. Okay, so this leads to this, leads to this, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you know there's some ideas there, but the progression, it's not, you know, it's not that bad, but it's very general. It's very difficult to see. You know, is there a, you know, presents information with some organization, but there may be a lack of progression. You know, so it's not too bad, but you're not going to be getting more than 5, really. You know, irrelevant detail, not sufficiently developed. No concrete, you know, so we can see why. So I say this is the. I mean, I hope that you've all seen this. This is the official British Council IDP University of Cambridge descriptors. This is what the examiners say they want. This is in every book. So you know that's the reason why I refer back to it. So let's have a look. So the structure again. Topic sentence, explain, example. So let's have a look. Secondly, it should be known by parents that only giving enough pocket money to children won't resolve their misbehaviours towards family members. Yeah, but what's that got to do with women working? That's the cause of juvenile delinquency. Okay. Despite the fact that children or children's psychology is very different than adults or to adults, families are mostly following two paths. We don't follow a path, do you? Follow a path of adultness, of adult perspective. I'm not sure what that actually means. While parents were, subject and verb, were being far from home all day, or for the whole day, children have spent all the money outside what? Outside, accordingly, lack of a care of the structure there. I'm not really sure what that means. In addition to that, the tendency of socializing and increasing recognition of parents. So you've got a second idea. When the children had a friend, so you know, there's no real structure or organization to this particular paragraph. I've no idea really what this is talking about. There's some ideas. Giving pocket money, children have spent it. What's that got to do? Then if they had a friend. So again, to refer back to the question, do we agree or not that women working causes some problems such as this? So women working, does that cause a problem? If so, why? And it doesn't quite say. Now, go back to my example. So if you remember, I said I disagree, and I've said that because the kids will be at school, so they won't be able to be a delinquent. Secondly, apart from that, many families have grandparents to look after their kids, so they're not unsupervised, so they won't be causing any bad behavior. Okay, so secondly, mother is not the only source of guidance and authority in a family. So that's my main idea. So back to the structure. As again, you just put down your topic sentence, your main idea. Okay, so my main idea here is, so here, main idea, children should be at school most of the day, so they're under the supervision of teachers. Main idea 2, a mother is not the only source of authority. What does that mean? The husband, yes, he does exist. Well, I hope so. Depending on his job, should also be present. So it's not just a woman's job. Right? The husband should also be there, and he should take care and responsibility too. Secondly, furthermore, in many households, it's increasingly common for grandparents to take over child care duties. So they're not going to be unsupervised because the grandparents will be there too. Now, you see, I had an example there, a bit of a general one. Now, I made this example up. A recent survey by the University of Boroshice in 2015 showed that in 80% of households in Istanbul, grandparents were relied upon for their grandchildren's childcare. Now, I've mentioned this before in other examples. It's very common and it's perfectly fine to invent examples to support your ideas and arguments. Now, I invented that. But it's plausible, and that's all that counts. So you see how it works. You've got your main idea. Children should be at school. That means they will be supervised. And an example. Second main idea, it's not just about her, it's about him. He should be taking some duties too. Also, grandparents, and then an example. Okay, now conclusion. All that you basically do here, you just restate the question and your main ideas. You can make a recommendation if you've got time. If you don't, that's fine. Let's have a look. In conclusion, our children are getting much more alone at the environment. What's this? In the environment of the new lifestyle, of a new lifestyle, I don't know. While families were feeling too much pressure and stress with business life, they had forgotten why we're using past perfect. They had forgotten about the children's health nowadays. Lack of care to children, new generation, these worst problems. Now you're introducing a new idea. Where's that? Where's that come from? You're not supposed to introduce new ideas in your conclusion. You're only supposed to restate what you've said. Life is getting more difficult and stressful. Okay, well, that doesn't really conclude. So, right, let's take a look at an example. In conclusion, despite the view that working mothers are to blame for childhood delinquency, I believe, my opinion, you have to a clear position throughout the response. You have to put it in your conclusion too. I believe that schools, I'm a father and grandparent, so that's my two main ideas. So main idea one, schools, main idea two, are sufficient models of discipline to make sure that children do not become delinquents even without the mother's presence. So you can see I restate the topic, express my opinion, main idea one, main idea two, and that's it. 301 words. So some problems with this one then. One, it's 460 words. That's a little bit long. I don't know if you'd have time to write that in 40 minutes on the exam conditions. We've got some grammar, mainly articles and prepositions. But the big thing here is there's no clear structure or organization. It addresses the topic very generally. And we can see from what the official criteria says, partially, 5, the development's not clear, 5, no conclusion, not sufficiently, 5, lack of progression, organization, no clear progression, that's a 4. So your grammar and your vocab aside, because you can have some errors and you can still get 7.58 and above, but having no clear structure, organization, every essay says write 250 words and give reasons and examples based on your knowledge and or experience. So if you don't give reasons and examples, you're going to get a very low score for task achievement. If you don't have a logical sequence, this leads to this, leads to this, leads to that, you're going to get, as we can see, a very low score for cohesion and coherence. So there's some good stuff here, some ideas, but basically you're writing about the topic, but it's very general. You're not being specific. We've got no particular examples. So this is something that we need to work on. Okay, now I'm going to put the files on my blog site. I'll just put the URL here, prepareielts.com. I'm going to put them there. Just make that a little bit bigger. Oh, there you go. prepareielts.com. That's quite big. So I'm going to put these on my blog site. I'll put the 2 examples for structure files, etc. So I hope that was useful. So if you've got any suggestions, any other videos or comments, you can send me a message. You can write to me at Kevin@prepareielts.com. Great. I'll see you soon.